Hey, welcome to This Explainer. Look, if you're currently grinding through a hyper-competitive degree, maybe navigating your first couple of years in the corporate world, or just trying to figure out why some people effortlessly glide to the top while you're stuck doing literally all the heavy lifting, well, you are in the exact right place. Today, we're laying out a pragmatic, totally no-nonsense survival guide for the modern workplace and the college campus. We're going to decode the unspoken rules that actually dictate who gets ahead and who gets left behind. So let me ask you, have you ever felt just completely powerless at work? Or maybe trapped in a college group project from hell? You know the exact scenario I'm talking about. You do all the actual work and then a credit-stealing colleague swoops in at the absolute last second to take all the glory. Or you're dealing with classmates who smile right to your face but sabotage your grade behind your back. It sucks, right? It's incredibly frustrating. But today we are going to break down how these power dynamics really work and, way more importantly, how you can protect yourself.
You might recognize the ideas we're diving into today. They come from Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power. It's a book with a pretty ruthless reputation, for sure. But today, we're using its historical analysis strictly as a neutral defensive toolkit. We're essentially translating these ancient aristocratic laws into practical armor for your everyday life. We're giving you the tools you need so you don't get crushed by the people who are out there actively playing the game.
All right, kicking things off with the modern power game. The very first thing to realize is that whether you're clocking in at a fast-paced tech startup or walking the halls of a prestigious university, a power dynamic exists. It's basically a modern-day royal court. Actually, scratch that. It is exactly like the old aristocratic courts of kings and queens, just with better coffee and less velvet.
But here is our foundational problem. If we take the rules too literally, we get crushed by those around us who aren't so foolish. In today's world, everyone wants to seem super fair, decent, and democratic. But there's a massive paradox here. If you treat everyone perfectly equally, you actually ignore their real differences. You artificially elevate the less skillful people and hold back the actual high performers. Playing with perfect, naive honesty, that just makes you entirely predictable to people who are perfectly willing to use deception. So that brings us to dodging toxic office viruses. A huge chunk of surviving the daily grind comes down to managing your peer relationships, and specifically handling the chronically unhappy people in your environment. Meet the infector. We all know one. They are a social virus who presents as a victim, suffers from chronic dissatisfaction, and actively draws misfortune upon themselves. Think of that constantly complaining cubicle mate who always has some sort of crisis, or the dramatic dorm mate whose life is just a perpetual soap opera. They present themselves as victims of circumstance, but in reality, their miseries are almost entirely self-inflicted. The danger here is that they will waste your time, drain your energy, and drag you right down into their own whirlpool of chaos. Think about this quote for a second. A virus. Unseen, it enters your pores without warning, spreading silently and slowly. I really want you to internalize that. Associating with toxic people is a silent career killer. Before you even realize the true nature of their problems, you've already been infected by their negativity, and you start looking bad to management or professors just by association. According to the source material, there is literally only one valid strategy here: total quarantine. Don't take pity, don't try to fix them, just cut the cord and protect your own peace of mind. Moving right along to becoming completely indispensable. We're pivoting now from managing your peers to managing up. Dealing with your professors, your managers, or your bosses, you absolutely have to master the art of making them need you. If they got rid of you, the whole edifice would collapse. You see, most people think the ultimate goal is total independence, but the source argues the exact opposite. True power doesn't come from being a lone wolf. It comes from enmeshing yourself so deeply into your boss's workflow that they depend entirely on your intelligence and your spine to even function. If replacing you would cause them a massive headache and tons of lost time, boom, you instantly have the upper hand. So how do you actually leverage that when you need a favor, like a deadline extension or a raise? Well, there's a wrong way and a right way. The wrong way is appealing to mercy, gratitude, or past favors you've done for them. That cord is threadbare. It breaks easily. The right way? Pitching exactly how helping you advances their own interests. It might sound a little cynical, but mutual self-interest is the only cord woven strong enough that it practically never breaks. Always frame your requests around what's in it for them. Okay, part 4, surviving the corporate court. Let's look at some defensive strategies regarding the flow of information in your environment and why hiding away is actually a fatal mistake.
When you get overwhelmed, it is so tempting to just throw on your noise-canceling headphones, hide in your dorm, or shut your office door. You just want to put your head down and work, right? But doing that is a massive error. Closing yourself off cuts you from the informal gossip and the really valuable information flowing through the halls. It breeds paranoia because you lose perspective on what's actually happening. A smaller social circle drastically reduces your maneuverability, and ultimately, it makes you a sitting duck, a really easy target for anyone plotting against you. Power depends entirely on social interaction. You have to force yourself to stay accessible and right in the absolute center of things. Which brings us to controlling your professional image. To wrap up our journey into becoming a savvy modern courtier, we need to talk about how you establish an undeniable personal presence when you walk into a room.
Bypassing the head, images aimed straight for the heart. This right here is the secret weapon of every great presenter and leader. We rely so much on our words, arguing our points, laying out logical data. But words actually invite skepticism. People mold them over, they overthink, and they doubt what you say. A striking visual, on the other hand, commands immediate emotional power. It short-circuits the brain's defense mechanisms and creates a reality that people simply accept without questioning.
So how do you pull this off in your next class presentation or boardroom pitch? Step 1. Practice nonchalance. Never seem like you're sweating or working too hard. Your talent needs to look completely effortless, almost like a natural grace. Step 2. Emphasize the visual over the intellectual. Give them something spectacular to look at to distract from the mundane realities of the data. And Step 3. Maintain a bit of mystery by talking less about yourself. When you hold back and keep silent, people naturally lean in. They try to figure you out. It makes your talent seem effortlessly royal.
And what if you encounter a toxic peer trying to ruin that carefully crafted image? Well, contempt is the prerogative of the king. If you don't like someone, or if someone is actively trying to bait you into an emotional reaction, maintain your superiority by simply acting as if they aren't even there. Don't engage, don't argue, refusing to see them and entirely cutting off the interaction is how you hold on to all the power.
So, here is the ultimate question. Now that you've seen the hidden mechanics of the modern court, how equality is often an illusion, how toxic peers spread like viruses, and how real presence is manufactured, you have a choice to make. Are you going to actively play the game, using these strategies to defend yourself and advance your own goals? Or are you going to keep your head in the sand and let the game play you? The rules are out there. It's totally up to you how you use them. Thanks for hanging out with me on this explainer, and I really hope this gives you a completely new lens for navigating your daily grind.